ஜெய் ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி. அனைவருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். என் வாய்ஸ் கேக்குதுங்களா?
கேக்குதுங்க.
ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ. கவனத்தை நமது சஹஸ்ரார சக்கரத்தில் வைத்துக் கொண்டு கவனம் முழுவதும் நமக்கு உள்ளுக்குள்ளே கொண்டு வரலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, இந்த காலை நேர தியானத்தில் நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் அமைதியாகவும் எண்ணங்களற்ற நிலையிலும் தியானம் புரிய எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயே. ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தங்களுடைய அருளால் நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்களுடைய தூய கருவிகளாகவும் இருக்கவும், தங்களை பூஜிப்பதற்கு தகுதி உள்ளவர்களாகவும் இருக்க எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயே. அன்னையை வணங்கிவிட்டு குண்டலினி உயர்த்தி பந்தன் போட்டுக் கொள்வோம். இப்பொழுது நாம் 3 மகா மந்திரங்களை கூறுவோம். ஓம் த்வமேவ சாக்ஷாத் ஸ்ரீ மகாலக்ஷ்மி महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडलनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार स्वामी मोक्ष प्रदायनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। श्री गणेश मंत्र। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री गणेशा साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। இரண்டு கைகள் பூமியின் மீது வைத்துக் கொள்ளலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ பூமி தாய், எங்கள் வாழ்வாதாரத்திற்கு எல்லாம் தருபவர் தாங்களே. ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்களுடைய தூய கருவிகளாக இருக்க எங்களுக்குள் இருக்கும் எல்லா உபாதைகள் மற்றும் எதிர்மறை சக்திகளை இந்த பூமி மார்க்கமாக நீக்கிவிடுங்கள். श्री आदि भूमि माता साक्षात। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात श्री आदि भूमि माता साक्षात श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। இப்பொழுது நமது கவனத்தை இடது நாடிக்கு கொண்டு வருவோம். இடது உள்ளங்கை திறந்த நிலையில் மடியின் மீது, வலது உள்ளங்கை தொடர்ந்து பூமியின் மீது இருக்கட்டும். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தயவு செய்து எங்கள் இடது நாடியை தூய்மைப்படுத்துங்கள். இடது நாடியை பாதிக்கும் தூய்மையற்ற ஆசைகள், தூய்மையற்ற கவனத்தையும் சிந்தனையும், தேவையற்ற கடந்த கால எண்ணங்களையும் முழுவதுமாக பூமி மார்க்கமாக நீக்கிவிடுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ மகாகாளி மற்றும் ஸ்ரீ பைரவராக எங்கள் இடது நாடியிலிருந்து அருள் புரிய வேண்டும். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, எங்கள் இடது நாடியிலிருந்து ஸ்ரீ பூமி தத்துவ சுவாமினியாக எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரிய வேண்டும் தாயே. கவனத்தை மெதுவாக வலது நாடிக்கு கொண்டு வருவோம். பிங்களா நாடி. வலது கையை மடியின் மீது, இடது கை ஆகாயத்தை நோக்கி வைத்துக் கொள்ளலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தயவு செய்து எங்கள் வலது நாடியை தூய்மைப்படுத்துங்கள். எங்கள் வலது நாடியை பாதிக்கும் தூய்மையற்ற செயல்களையும், தேவையற்ற எதிர்கால எண்ணங்களையும், கோபத்தையும் அகங்காரத்தையும் ஆகாய மார்க்கமாக நீக்கிவிடுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ மகா சரஸ்வதி மற்றும் ஸ்ரீ ஹனுமாராக எங்கள் வலது நாடியிலிருந்து அருள் புரிய வேண்டும். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தாங்களே சாக்ஷாத் ஸ்ரீ ஆகாஷ தத்துவ சுவாமினியாகவும் எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரிய வேண்டும். இரண்டு கைகள் மடியின் மீது, கவனம் நமது மைய நாடியில் வைத்துக் கொள்ளலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தயவு செய்து எங்கள் சுழுமுனை நாடியை தூய்மைப்படுத்துங்கள். நாங்கள் சமநிலையில் இருக்க எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ மகாலட்சுமி மற்றும் ஸ்ரீ கணேசராக எங்கள் சுழுமுனை நாடியிலிருந்து அருள் புரிய வேண்டும். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, இந்த பஞ்சபூத தத்துவத்தினால் எங்கள் சுழுமுனை நாடி முழுவதும் தூய்மை பெறட்டும். தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ பஞ்சமகா பூத தத்துவ சுவாமினியாக எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரிய வேண்டும் தாயே. பஞ்சபூத தத்துவங்கள் நமக்குள் நிலம், அடுத்தது நெருப்பு, நீர், காற்று, ஆகாயம், ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, தயவு செய்து ஸ்ரீ கணேச தத்துவத்தை எங்கள் எல்லா சக்கரங்களிலும் நிலைக்க செய்யுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ கணேசரால் எங்கள் எல்லா சக்கரங்களும் தூய்மை பெறட்டும். எல்லா சக்கரங்களின் குணங்களும் மேம்பட செய்யுங்கள் தாயே. ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் ஸ்ரீ கணேசரை போல் முழு சரணாகதியோடும் முழு அர்ப்பணிப்போடும் இருக்க எப்பொழுதுமே தங்கள் திருக்கமல பாதங்களில் இருக்கவும் எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயே. கவனத்தை முழுவதுமாக நமது சஹஸ்ரார சக்கரத்தில் வைத்துக்கொண்டு ஸ்ரீ கணேச அதர்வ ஸ்ரீஷத்தை கூறுவோம். ஓம் நமஸ்தே கணபதே त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं तत्त्वमसि त्वमेव केवलं कर्तासि त्वमेव केवलं दर्तासि त्वमेव केवलं हर्तासि त्वमेव सर्वं कल्विदं ब्रह्मासि त्वं साक्षात् आत्मासि नित्यं हृदं वश्मि सत्यं वश्मि त्वं माम् अववक्तारम् अवश्रोतारम् अवदातारम् अवधातारम् अवानुचानम् अवशिष्यम् अवपश्चातात् अवपुरस्तात् अवोधरातात् अवदक्षिणातात् अवचोद्वातात् अवाधरातात् सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्तात् त्वं वाङ्मयस्त्वं चिन्मयः त्वम् आनन्दमयस्त्वं ब्रह्ममयः त्वं सच्चित् आनन्दाद्वितीयोऽसि त्वं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि सर्वं जगतिदं त्वत्तो जायते सर्वं जगतिदं त्वत्व तिष्ठति सर्वं जगतिदं त्वयि लयमेष्यति सर्वं जगतिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि त्वं गुणत्रयातीतः त्वं देहत्रयातीतः त्वं कालत्रयातीतः त्वं मूलाधारस्थितोऽसि नित्यः त्वं शक्तित्रयात्मः त्वं योगिनो ध्यायन्ति नित्यम् त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं रुद्र त्वम् इन्द्रस्त्वम् अग्निस्त्वं वायुस्त्वं सूर्यस्त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्वरूम् अनादिं पूर्वमुच्चार्य वर्णादीं तदनन्तरम् अनुस्वारा परदरः अर्धेन्दुलसितं तारेण हृदम् एतत्त्वमनुस्वरूपं सकार पूर्वरूपम् अकारो मध्यमरूपम् अनुस्वार शान्त्यरूपम् बिन्दुरुद्ररूपम् नादसन्धानं सन्निधा सन्धिः सैषा गणेशविद्या कनकऋषिः निःश्रितगायत्रीः च छन्दः गणपतिर्देवता ॐ गं गणपते नमः एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो तन्दी प्रचोदयात् एकदन्तं चतुर्हस्तं पाशाम् अङ्कुशधारिणं प्रदं च वरदं हस्तेर्बिभ्राणं मूषकध्वजं रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पकर्णकं रक्तवाससं रक्तगन्धानुलिप्ताङ्गं रक्तपुष्पैः सुभूषितं भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्कारणमच्युतम् आविर्भूतं च शिष्टयादव प्रकृते पुरुषात् परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः नमो व्रातपते नमो गणपते नमः प्रमथपते नमस्ते अस्तु लम्बोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवस्तुताय श्रीवरदमूर्ते नमो नमः साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः நமது கவனம் மூலாதார சக்கரத்திலே இருக்கட்டும். பிரார்த்தனை செய்வோம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ கார்த்திகேயவாக எங்கள் மூலாதார சக்கரத்திலிருந்து எங்களுக்குள் இருக்கும் எல்லா தீய குணங்களையும் அழித்து விடுங்கள். தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ ஸ்கந்த மாதா தாங்களே ஸ்ரீ கணேசராக ஒரு குழந்தையை போல் தூய உள்ளத்தோடு இருக்க எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள் ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி. நாங்களே ஸ்ரீ கணேசா கௌரி மாதாவாக எங்கள் மூலாதார சக்கரத்திலிருந்து அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயே. மெதுவாக கவனத்தை நமது இதய சக்கரத்திற்கு கொண்டு வரலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி ஸ்ரீ ஜெகதம்பாவாகவும் ஸ்ரீ துர்கா மாதாவாகவும் எங்கள் அனஹத சக்கரத்திலிருந்து அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயே. ஸ்ரீ துர்கா மாதாவின் அருளால் நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தன்னம்பிக்கையோடும் பயமின்றி இருக்க எங்களுக்கு அருளுங்கள் அன்னையே. ஸ்ரீ துர்காவின் முழு குணங்களும் நமக்குள் அமைய நாம் ஸ்ரீ துர்கையின் 9 திருநாமங்கள் கொண்டு பிரார்த்தனை செய்வோம். ஸ்ரீ சைலபுத்ரி ஓம் த்வமேவ சாக்ஷாத் ஸ்ரீ சைலபுத்ரி நமோ நமः. ஸ்ரீ பிரம்மச்சாரிணி ஓம் த்வமேவ சாக்ஷாத் श्री ब्रह्मचारिणी नमो नमः। श्री चंद्रघंटा ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री चंद्रघंटा नमो नमः। श्री कूष्मांडा ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कूष्मांडा नमो नमः। श्री स्कंदमाता ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री स्कंदमाता नमो नमः। श्री कात्यायनी ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कात्यायनी नमो नमः। श्री कालरात्रि ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कालरात्रि नमो नमः। श्री महागौरी ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महागौरी नमो नमः। श्री सिद्धिदात्री ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री सिद्धिदात्री नमो नमः। साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः। கவனத்தை ஆக்ஞா சக்கரத்திற்கு கொண்டு வரலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி எங்களுக்குள் இருக்கும் எல்லா அகங்காரத்தையும் மமகாரத்தையும் சுய கட்டுப்பாடுகளையும் முழுவதுமாக நீக்கிவிடுங்கள். நாங்கள் பணிவோடு இருக்க எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள் தாயி. எங்களுக்கு மன்னிக்கும் சுபாவத்தையும் தந்தருளுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி என்னை நான் மன்னித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். மற்றவர்களையும் நான் மனதார மன்னிக்கின்றேன். கவனத்தை மெதுவாக நமது சஹஸ்ரார சக்கரத்திற்கு கொண்டு வரலாம். இப்போது நமக்கு அந்த எண்ணங்களற்ற நிலையில் நாம் இருக்கின்றோம். நமக்குள் அமைதியையும் நாம் உணரலாம். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி எங்களுடைய ஒரே நோக்கமானது நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்களுடைய குழந்தைகள். நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்களுடன் ஐக்கியமாவதுதான். நாங்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்களுடைய தூய கருவிகளாகவும் இருக்கவும் எங்களுக்கு அருள் புரியுங்கள். ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி தெரிந்தும் தெரியாமலும் நாங்கள் செய்யும் எல்லா தவறுகளையும் மன்னித்து அருளுங்கள். எங்கள் தவறுகளை நாங்கள் உணர்ந்து அதை திருத்திக் கொள்ளும் சக்தியையும் எங்களுக்கு தந்தருளுங்கள் தாயி. எண்ணங்களற்ற நிலையில் இருப்பதற்கு நிர்விச்சார மந்திரத்தை கூறி நாம் சிறிது நேரம் தியானத்தில் இருப்போம். ஓம் त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री निर्विचार साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी, श्री निर्मला देवी नमो नमः. நாம் தொடர்ந்து இதே தியான நிலையில் ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜியின் சொற்பொழிவை கேட்போம்.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. I came to San Diego long time back, and I'm very happy to come back here. When we talk of truth, we have to understand that truth is not what we understand through our mental projections. Mostly the mental projections give us illusions. There is no reality behind it. Truth is an experience of the central nervous system. For example, if this is cold, I can feel it. It is cold. Even if a child touches this, it can feel it. It is cold. If it is hot, we can feel it on central nervous system that it is hot. In the same way, the truth is to be known on central nervous system, not through mental projections. While we live on mental projections, some people come and talk about truth. We think he's the man standing on truth. He represents truth. Somebody talks about compassion. We believe he's very compassionate. He's very peaceful. But compassion does not speak. It is silent. It acts. It works. So, one has to understand that to get to truth, to get to reality, one has to cross the barrier of mental activity. Unless and until you understand this simple point, it's going to be difficult to give realization to people. This is the basic trouble in the Western countries, that they think they can conceive truth through their mental projections. And that's why they have many types of truths. So how do we achieve it? How do we conceive it? What is the way? How did we become human beings? From amoeba. Scientists must ask this question. How did we become? And why did we become? What was the purpose? Why nature worked so hard to make us human beings? Is there any purpose of our life? We have not achieved our purpose. It's something in transition still. That's why there is confusion. There is confusion because we live on relative terminology, relative world. We are not in the absolute. Everything becomes absolute when you feel it on the central nervous system. Now the confusion also comes because we always accept something that comes to us very new. Anything new. We want to jump into it. Anything new, we see, try it, why not? If you say, why do you do it? They'll say, what's wrong? We are seeking God, we are seeking the truth. We must go to hell even if it comes as true. Maybe anything new we try. But not in our lives, we don't do that way. When we have to discover something about anything, say about electricity, we do not just try something new, but what we try through the knowledge of the past, through the tradition of finding it out. We try to find out how far it has gone and where have we to reach. But in spirituality, we want to try everything that is new. And the shopping starts. Because we have not known what is the truth. Like somebody told me in Pune that there are some people who are very sick, group of people, very learned people, very sick. They are suffering from high blood pressure, cancer, they are suffering from heart troubles and diabetes, very serious patients. And they are all seekers. I called them, I said, what's the matter with you? Why should you suffer? They said, we have a guru. I said, if you have a guru, there's more reason you should not suffer at all. Why? Why is it? So they said the thing is, you see, the name of the guru was one Mr. Gulwani. Names are also very funny of these people, I must say. But he said, this gentleman, that there's something called Shaktipat. I said, what is that? I've never heard. There's something called Arunopai, Tarunopai. I said, I've never heard of these things. From where does it come? It's not in the Vedas. It's not in any Puranas. Even Adi Shankaracharya has not described it. Nanaka has not talked about it. Kabira has never said anything. And of all the persons, Gyaneshwara, he never mentioned it. What are you talking about? So they gave me a book which was written 70 years back by some madcap, I think, giving some new ideas. And all of them are mad after it without finding out. And they are saying that when the Kundalini is awakened, people get the heat, they become mad. In that book it was written that people start jumping like frogs. Imagine. Are you going to become now frogs? I don't know what happens to logic when it comes to religion. It's very surprising. that those educated people in India should forget all that was written about Kundalini, all that was said about self-realization from ancient times, one after another in an evolutionary way, and suddenly take to something so stupid as that. Like a tree grows, a seed. Through the living process becomes the tree. And suddenly you jump onto a plastic flower saying, oh, this is something new. It has no relevance whatsoever with the tree. You may tie it up to the tree and say, oh, that's the flower coming out of the tree. This is one of the biggest nags in the seeking of the seekers of modern times. I came that time, long time back, and I warned people, be careful. I didn't know this kind of madness was going to come up. But I felt there's something funny about that. So somebody comes and turns your Agya Chakra, you start seeing light. It's an experience. It's just a sensation it is. What have you become? If you can see the light, then you are not the light, definitely. What have you become is the point. I feel very nice, good. Is that the thing you were seeking? What do you expect to be? So first of all, we must understand that your seeking must be relevant to what has been sought before in every seeking. Let's take Christ. They don't like to take his name these days. It's become so funny. Thanks to all the religions that were created out of these great incarnations on this earth. Whether take it Hinduism, Christianity, everything just the same. So what did he say? He said, you are to be born again. All right? So they put a certificate, born again, self-certified born agains walking around. And when I said that, 4 or 5 of them got up with a Bible in their hand to hit me. And I just felt like laughing and really laughing at them. By hitting me, are they going to become self-realized? Are they going to be reborn? You must face the truth as it is. If you want to avoid it, it's very easy. But this is the last chance. Human beings have learnt many things but has forgotten one thing. That every time we have missed the truth, let us not miss it again. So Christ said, you are to be born again. Nicodemus says, that means should I enter into the womb of my mother? Because after all, Nicodemus was a Roman. Indians won't ask such a question. They know what it is to be born again. But after all, Roman gentleman, you see. So Christ explains, whatever is born of flesh is flesh. You have to be born again by the Holy Ghost. Who is the Holy Ghost? What did he mean? Christ was allowed to exist somehow or other for 3.5 years only. What is 3.5 years amongst ignorant people? What can you explain to them? What can you talk to them? I came here 72. 4 years I was struggling with 7 hippies in London. What could Christ do? How could he tell you what was the Holy Ghost? Kundalini is the Holy Ghost. Reflected within you. That's the Holy Ghost, which is to be awakened spontaneously as a living process. And as a living process, you have to become something just like a flower becoming a fruit. Transformation has to take place. In Sanskrit language, they call a bird as Dvijaha, and also a Brahmin, the one who has known the Brahma, the one who has felt the all-pervading power, is also called as Dvijaha, meaning born twice. But an egg becomes a bird. It's not some self-certification like we are Christians, like we are Muslims, like we are Hindus, or we are the twice born, or whatever you may say. And we are quite satisfied with this self-certification. And we accept. All right, so I am this, I am that. You are nothing but you are the spirit. That's what you have to become. Becoming is the point. It's not a mental projection, an illusion. But the becoming is important. And how do you become that? What do you do about it? Simple question. What did you do to become a human being? Did you cut your tails? No, you did not. You became spontaneously with a living process. What is that power which has worked out this process of our evolution? And the same power is going to trigger that last happening where you become the spirit. Let us accept very humbly that this is what the nature has to do. But if you say it is effortless, they can't believe it. How can it be? You must stand on your head. You must run for 5 miles before becoming a spirit. Or all kinds of other things. I don't know what other things people can do. Jump like a frog, maybe. But a simple thing is to be understood, that living process take place spontaneously. How? How does a seed grow? The Mother Earth has the capacity, and the seed has the innate quality. And when you put the seed in the Mother Earth, it sprouts. You don't stand on your head for that. Or do you pay any money to the Mother Earth? Poor thing doesn't understand your money part. And then you say you cannot take any money, which is really irrelevant. It's a big joke, you know. You are paying for your self-realization. Just I can't understand. I'm too naive to understand this part of the marketing. Then they say, no, how can that be? You have to pay for everything. And you have to pay for your self-realization. By the way, how much did you pay to become human beings? And to whom? So one must first of all understand that it's a spontaneous living process which has made us human beings, and the same living process is going to make us the spirit. And when that happens, there has to be a transformation within us. And the transformation of wiser people, saner people, normal people, healthier people, and not stupid, nonsensical people. But what I find, the seekers are getting more and more stupid. Surprising. Since I have come, these seekers have become drug addicts or another nonsense, some sort of a perversion or another nonsense, punks, or I don't know what to call them. So for a mother, when she comes back, she sees her children into these new phases, she doesn't understand. What to say, how to tell them that you are seekers. You are seekers of ages. You are a special category of people. Even as late as 100 years back, William Blake, the great poet, has said very clearly that men of God will become prophets and they will have powers to make others prophets. It's very clearly said. You all have to become prophets. The powers of divinity, not bestowed by any church or certified by any theological thing, but through the grace of the divine. And then you have the power to make others prophet. So then they will say William Blake was crazy. That's the best way to certify someone like that and be satisfied. So let us understand, first of all, that truth is what it is. It will not compromise with you. If you have to accept the truth, you have to accept one thing, that it is beyond your mental projection, your mental personality. You have to go beyond your mental personality to perceive it. And then the whole thing becomes logical. Today, you are born in the most important times, when thousands of you have to get your realization. Say, San Diego, I come all the way. How many we have here? I go to Rome, there are 4,000 people. I go to the foothill of Himalaya, there are 6,000 people. I go into Indian villages, there are 8,000 people. But I must say that there are seekers born in America. No doubt. But they are lost into all these ideas which are just mental projections put forward by someone here and someone there. Now it's a happening that has to take place, the awakening of the Kundalini. Traditionally, it was accepted that the Holy Ghost has to give you your second birth. In the Bible, it is called as the tree of life or tree of fire. And it said that I will appear before you like tongues of flames, and that's how these chakras look like. In the Quran, it is called as Asas, the Kundalini. And he said, Muhammad Sahib talked more about resurrection than about the doomsday. But to them, doomsday is much more important. You can frighten people and make them fanatics. Resurrection part, everybody has tried to forget. Better forget the resurrection part. So he has very clearly said that at the time of resurrection your hands will speak. If he was the last, why did he talk of the future? Every one of them has talked that you have to have your self-realization, your second birth, to understand the divine. Without that you cannot understand. Buddha went to this limit to say that don't talk of God, don't talk of anything else, just first get your realization, first thing first. Same with Mahavira. He didn't want to talk of God or anything else, better have your realization. They reached a conclusion, the more you talk about these things, the worse it becomes with human beings. But even if you see the Buddhists and the Jainis, you will be shocked. So now, with all this confusion, let us face the fact that we have to become the Spirit. Now what you have seen here, and you have been told about, is the knowledge of the roots. We can say in the West, the tree has grown too big. We are not bothered about the roots. That's why every time we get reports, it's shocking, the shocks of the future. We don't know what's going to happen. Suddenly we are going to collapse, or God knows. All kinds of shocks are expected in the future. But one should find out that there must be something sustaining this tree. We must find out about our roots. But to find out about our roots, we have to become subtler people. With gross development, we cannot do it. So we have to become subtler person. But this could be also very misleading, because we must understand also how our ascent is going to be worked out. As you see here, on the right side, when we move towards our future, what we call the supraconscious. By moving to the right, becoming futuristic, we lose all powers of the left, which is the emotional side, the past. If you move to the left, you go to another area which is called as subconscious. But beyond the subconscious lies the collective subconscious, which is the dead, like you had here parapsychology foundation. Unfortunately, I did not know what they were up to. Actually, they invited me, and I went there, and I was shocked what they were doing with this parapsychology business. Was collective subconscious. And to be very frank, I told them the truth, that they are playing with the dead spirits. It's very dangerous. Even Russians are doing that today. As a result, you know, all their presidents are dying suddenly, nobody knows how. It's thanks to parapsychology. But in a way, they are wiser people. Once they are told, they will retreat. They will not find another type of a parapsychology. So, when I said they were very angry with me, they wouldn't like it because they had started a foundation. But I had to tell them, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry, you are my children. I cannot allow you to go to hell. It's not proper. Now that phase is over, now find another phase coming up, another phase coming. So if you go to the collective subconscious, you are attacked by the collective subconscious. If you go to the collective supraconscious, that's what Hitler did. How did Hitler manage? Germans who were quite sane people. How did he manage them? By supra-conscious activities like lamas. You see, they gave them the full ideas how to control these supra-conscious spirits. The spirits which are very ambitious people. And he mesmerized them. We should not call them regressed, but in supra-conscious case we can say aggressed. And that's how they all asked for nothing at all but for power to destroy. Imagine human beings destroying people in the gas chamber, seeing them being destroyed, children, women, old people, young people. Even in the film, if you see one child being killed, you start crying. That's an illusion. We start crying. And there they watched it. Thousands of them. Millions. How could they do it? There must be some barrier. There must be some cover on their eyes. That they had no feelings at all left in them. That they are kith and kin. How it happens is the same supra-conscious nonsense as you have many other institutions which are doing now. This EST is doing that. EST. If you have cancer, you might get cured by EST people. Like if you have cancer, you get it because of the left movement, so you can go to the right movement. But then you might end up with a heart attack. You may end up with a paralysis. Or you may end up as Hitler. So either you move to the left or to the right, and you can say, all right, that is what we felt on our central nervous system. That's not the point. You have to feel the all-pervading power which exists, which does all the living work. We see every day these flowers becoming fruit. But we don't understand. At the right time, these flowers come in. They have their own season. Then they fade away at the right time. At the right time, the autumn comes in. Who does all that? Which is this power? Who manages all kinds of choices and sorting out. Like an Indian will have an Indian child, a Chinese will have a Chinese child. Who does all that? That's the power, which is all-pervading power, which is integration of all these three powers here which are shown. On the left-hand side, as I said, is the power that caters to your subconscious, is the power of desire. We call the channel as Ida Nadi. The right-hand side is the power of action, which we call the channel as the Surya Nadi, is the channel of the sun. Left side is the channel of the moon. And in the center is the channel by which we have become human beings. How? By sustenance of our valencies. Like carbon had 4 valency and human beings have 10 valencies. And when Moses talked of 10 commandments, he said, if you are a human being, you better keep your 10 valencies intact. That's what it is. As simple as that. So the sustenance within us which has worked so far is of 10 valencies. But why the balance? Why should we balance the left and right? Apart from the fear of getting into troubles, What's the purpose is that without balance you cannot ascend. If you have to ascend, then you must have a balance. But thanks to Sahaj Yoga of today, that you don't have to bother to balance or do anything of the kind, because the seventh center is open now. With the opening of the seventh center, it has been achieved that Kundalini can rise, you can get your realization. Whatever you may have done in the past, whatever may be your mental level, whatever may be your emotional level, whatever you might have done to destroy yourself, still you can get your realization. The reason is, you have to see in the little light yourself. Even if there is a little light, one can see what's wrong with you, with yourself. But if somebody says, don't do this, supposing somebody is holding on to a snake, you say that you are holding on to a snake, throw it away, but it's darkness. He says, why should I throw? It's not a snake, I'm going to carry it. But as soon as the light comes in, he throws away. So let there be a little light at least, so that they see for themselves, they guide themselves, they become their own gurus. I don't have to tell them. And in that light, they understand and grow wiser and wiser, more established in their spirit, thus becoming the spirit in the full way, seeing everything in the divine light of the spirit.
जय श्री माता जी। ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, இன்றைய தியானம் எங்கள் தந்ததற்கு எங்களது கூடான கோடி நன்றிகள் தாயே. ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி, எங்கள் ஆத்ம விழிப்புணர்வை நிலைநிறுத்துங்கள் தாயே. இந்த நாள் முழுவதும் எங்கள் கவனம் முழுவதும் தங்களுடைய திரு கமல பாதங்களிலேயே நிலைத்திருக்கட்டும் தாயே. ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி வணங்கிவிட்டு குண்டலினி உயர்த்தி பந்தன் போட்டுக்கொள்வோம். ஜெய் ஸ்ரீ மாதாஜி.